evening, everyone. Welcome along to the Rangers Rabble Women's Show on the Monday evening. My name is Bryan, and again, I am joined by Wilf and Carr. How are we doing, folks?
I'm here.
Wolf,
I've had better Mondays, and hopefully my Wi-Fi holds this one out, because it was started off fine on the last pod and went like the team. So here's hoping here's hoping the Wi-Fi can hold out. But yeah, let's just get on with this.
So yes, they obviously were here to react to the result at yesterday. Rangers won, Hearts won. I think the headline says it all, Carr. We need Snookers again. We're needing help from other teams. Just when you think we've had a couple of really good results, team digging in, and as I said to you before we started, I watched the highlights before we started, obviously, because I hadn't seen it. And honestly, the chances that we've passed up in that game is quite unbelievable, actually.
Yeah, they cleared a couple off the line, but we should have been, out of sight within the first half. It was just baffling. Everybody seemed off of it, and I said, I think it was last week on the pod, that, we could field our youth team and we'd be fine. And we essentially kind of did. All the young team, bar Laura Berry, started. And, we just looked kind of off it. Like, everybody just looked kind of nervy, sloppy passes, flat passes, just faffing around at the back. It was just, from the City game to that, it was just kind of like, it's like a whole completely different team. And I don't know what happened. Is like the mentality gone? Is the bottle gone? I don't know, but it's scunnering, honestly.
Yeah, the team lineup was Essen in goal with McLaughlin, Davison, Hill, captain, and Marinov in the defence. It was then McLean, Kerr, and Cornet in the midfield, with a trio of Danielson, McCleary, and Howitt in the attacking roles. So, a good team, Wolf. Well, there was nobody in it that you would have thought, they've all got their reasons for being in there. So it was a strong lineup. But as Carr says, it just wasn't our day, was it?
Yeah, they've all featured regularly in the team, either starting or coming off the bench. So you couldn't argue with the team that you played. It's possibly stronger than I expected, given that it's, inverted commas, only Hearts. And you can't argue with the defence, because we've got nobody else to put, as we've just been discussing off air, we've got nobody else to put in defence. You couldn't take any of them out because there is literally nobody to put in. Up front, again, it's probably all we've really got up there, with the exception you could probably throw Megan Bell into the mix, but for some reason she doesn't seem to be flavour of the month, don't know why. But, again, I only saw the highlights. I was coming back from Hampden. Concluded there wasn't enough time to do both. I'm quite glad I didn't do both now, because I was in a bad enough mood after the first one. But having watched the highlights back, and having spoke to my girlfriend who watched the game from a different perspective, we should have been out of sight before the brain fart in the 93rd minute. We hit the post, we hit the bar, we had one cleared off the line, we missed a number of glaring chances, and that's only in the 4 minutes of highlights that I've seen. And I know highlights can be slanted to make it look whatever way you want to make it look, but it's just the chances that we missed. It was a bad day at the office, and to pick up on Carr's point, whether it was a mentality thing.
This hamsters need to do overtime.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much of that you caught, but I finished off with I think they possibly thought it was too easy after doing what we did to Glasgow City. They probably just thought, well, we just have to because let's be honest, we just thought, well, we need to turn up. We'll sort Hearts out. Then it's Celtic on Thursday. If the players' minds were like a lot of ours probably were, they were probably thinking about Thursday as well. But that should have given them more incentive to play well, to get in the team for Thursday. Particularly the players that don't regularly start. to go back to what Carl said, it was baffling. It's absolutely mystifying how we can dig it out. I mean, we play Celtic, lose a goal in the 99th minute. We play Glasgow City, lose one in the 87th minute, then manage to win the game. And then we play Hearts and lose one late on for an inexplicable challenge that didn't have to be made. But we'll get on to that.
Yeah. I mean, Card, Graham's making asking a question. Did Malky possibly underestimate Hearts given Celtic beat them 6-0?
I mean, potentially, because I think in my head I was kind of along that same wavelength of, well, we got a 0-0 draw against them, but we've picked up and they seem to be struggling a bit because they only got a 1-1 in the Edinburgh Derby. So I was kind of thinking the same thing, that really we could field any team and be okay. But then the only thing that baffled me was why you dropped Tess and Nick. I get Maddie to an extent because she's got pace there, but I don't know why Tess didn't start. Like, she's done nothing wrong in the last couple of games to merit being dropped. So, and a game that we have to win every game, why wouldn't you just field your strongest team and then once it's out of sight, you bring the youngsters on? Because it seems baffling. But I don't know what Malky does half the time. Like, honestly, don't like. Emma was having a fantastic game and then he subs it.
Yeah, I mean, Wilf, it took 3 minutes for us to have a really good chance. Cross came in from Rachel McLaughlin on the right-hand side. Danielson misses the header. And then Chelsea comes in the back post, totally unmarked, and it comes off her thigh, I think. And she somehow manages to either hit it off the post or the bar and from a yard out, 2 yards out. And you kind of sat there and thinking, watching it back, you're like, goodness me, could have got off that flyer.
Well, I think had I seen that live, if possible, I'd possibly have thought, well, it's maybe going to be one of those days, and it's not going to be the walkover we thought. I mean, to pick up on the point there that did we maybe underestimate it because Celtic took 6 off them. I mean, I didn't see that, but I watched the Edinburgh Derby, and they were hopeless. They were terrible. It was a terrible game of football. They were awful. I mean, for us to to drop points there. I mean, we had enough chances, and it's got to be a mentality thing because the finish is dreadful. You know what I mean? It was just. I don't want to single players out because they were all as bad as each other in the finishing stage. But I mean, there was one when Jodie McCleary was through. It was easier to score than this. She missed. She somehow managed to let a defender get the block on it. As you say, the one early doors that comes off Chelsea's, I don't know, thigh, whatever, knee, whatever it was, and then hit the woodwork. You've got to score that. Some of the stuff we missed was just. I mean, the lassie in the Hearts goal made a couple of decent saves. The save she made in the first half was an absolute top draw save. The one she put over the bar. That's a top draw save in any game of football. But apart from that, and one save second half, I don't really think, from what I saw, she didn't really have a lot to do. And obviously, the one that kicked off the line. The one that kicked off the line, we're not pressing the ball. We've put it towards the line and just said, well, that's going in. There's nobody trying to press the ball to put pressure on the defender that's trying to clear it. It's just, and then, again, the penalty that we lost. I mean, just, there's no need to make that challenge. It was really, really, really soft, right? But it was a penalty by the letter of the law. And there's absolutely no need to make that challenge. It's inexplicable. Why does Hannah Davison not just stand herself between the ball and the striker? And then if the striker wants to get the ball, she's got to go through her. And it's a free kick to Rangers. There's a minute to go. The ball's in our goal line. We've got the ball. Game's done. 3 points. It's not pretty. On to Thursday. I just don't get it.
And I suppose, Car, the only surprise was it took us a bit, took us over 37 minutes for us to get on the score sheet. I think Kirsty Howitt received it in the box, and I think it's sort of, I don't know if she laid it off or if it was just a little slight miscontrol, but it fell right into Sam Kerr's path and she slammed it in the bottom corner. Yeah,
Sam starts it, so Sam's the one that kind of runs it back in. She kind of goes herself, runs in with it, kind of lays it off to Kirsty, and I don't know if it's a layoff. I don't know if she's just gone, sack this. And like kind of Scott Arfield in the semi-final last year, we won't talk about this year, it's last year, where he just boots it from underneath him. It was that kind of way. And Sam's absolutely hit form now. And she's absolutely firing and flying. So it's devastating for her to put that much effort in and be on the run that she is, and for the rest of the team just to kind of whatever the issue is, be having these issues. Because it shouldn't be up to her to be, digging us out of holes. It should be up to our strikers to be putting away the chances that we're creating, because we're creating plenty of them. We had so many chances. And even after she scored that, we had one, like, pretty much straight from kickoff after that. Do you know what I mean?
That was the next point I was going to make.
So many chances, and we just couldn't take them. And we said all season, being not clinical enough is going to cost us, and it did.
I was just going to raise that when we occurred that it was Jodie McCleary 1-on-1
Yeah.
with a goalkeeper, and as you say, a minute after we've scored, perfect chance to put a bit of daylight in us and cement the sort of lead. And she, for whatever reason, she didn't choose to go around the goalie. She tried to shoot early, and the goalie saved it. So that was a potential chance to go 2-0 up at within a minute of each other, wasn't it?
Yeah, at that point, I thought, oh, this is fine. We're kicking on now. We're going to bang them in for fun now. We've opened the scoring. It's fine. And then we missed that, and it pinballs around, and you're thinking, all right, okay, it's fine. We'll just keep going. And then the longer it goes and the more chances we miss, you start to, oh, no, here we go again. Because, like, the longer it gets to full time at 1-0, you don't trust them to hold on to it anymore.
I suppose, Wilf, when you get to 1-0 half time, we've had so many chances. I mean, it is just a case of, do what you're doing, but just be more clinical in front of goal, isn't it?
It is, but before we carry on with that, I'm going to this point that Curry's got here. And Curry, see if you jump onto Patreon, there's a getting to know you with Carl that dropped last week, and that'll tell you everything you need to know about her. So there you go. So jump onto Patreon, you'll get hold of that, and the show about Carl's on there. But for the record, she's from Thurso.
Chuchter.
We're all
absolute
Chuchters.
We're all Chuchters on here to varying different degrees. Although I'm the only proper one because I'm from the West Highlands, so I'm a proper Chuchter. So, but yeah, Bryan, you would think leading at half time, how we can laugh after the day we had yesterday, I've got no idea. There you go. Curry doesn't have Patreon because he's a tight-fisted. He live every week though. You know what I mean? Yeah. So there we go. So cut down on the phone calls to the rabble and get yourself a Patreon.
Chris is wondering how you get a signed photo of Tess.
Come to the game and get a photo printed out and ask her to sign it. I don't know. I'm not an agent. I'm not that deeply involved with the team that I can get that organised. Come to the game.
But no, I mean, for me, it is a case of just be more clinical, Wilf. Don't be careless, don't be sloppy. Just be clinical, isn't it?
But Bryan, as we know, the problem that we've got is we go in ahead at half time and we just try to sit and hold it. I mean, look at the Celtic game. You know what I mean? Look at the Glasgow City game. We sit back and try and hold a goal lead. Now, we should get away with that against the teams that aren't the two teams because they're clearly not as good. But Hearts are a lot better than they were last season. I mean, where that 6-0 Celtic win came from, I've got no idea because I mean Hearts are better than that from what I've seen of them this season. And we probably did underestimate. We've got to go out and absolutely. I mean, it's a bit late in the day to say it now because the league is potentially gone. Although there is a mathematical formula that will get us the title. But me and Carl were discussing before you came on last minute, Larry again. But we've got to be finishing teams off. We have to be finishing teams off. It's against teams like Hearts and Hibs and Partick Thistle and Aberdeen. The second goal's critical. We get the second goal, they fold like a pack of cards. I mean, how many times this season have you seen the three top teams in the league getting the second goal with 15, 20 minutes to go and running out 4, 5 and 6-0 winners? Because the other teams the fitness shows and the other teams just collapse. But we just couldn't score the second goal. And it happens so often. You know what I mean? We miss. And it's not good defending and good goalkeeping. It's really, really bad finishing, which has got to be a mentality thing. Because I don't think for a second they don't work on it. But I mean, what really, really angered me after watching the game, after watching the highlights today, I watched the post-match press conferences with Kathy Hill and Malky. And they both said when they came back in on Tuesday. Now, I'm not saying they're not entitled to a day off, right? But see, after that shit show, They should have been in there today. They should have been debriefing that today. And then worrying about Thursday tomorrow. They should have been in there today debriefing. They should have wanted to be in there today debriefing that. And I know they're entitled to time off, but, you know what I mean? And even if they've got time off, don't openly tell us. Well, for the shit result, by the way, we're off tomorrow. You know what I mean? We don't need to know that.
No.
You know what I mean? He should have insisted. I mean, to me, Malky looked like a broken man in that press conference. He looked like I felt when I got back from Hampden yesterday. And he's a professional football manager. You know what I mean? I'm a punter that drives a van. You know what I mean?
Curry was asking earlier, Mark,
I'm not saying don't.
Sorry, I'm just saying, Curry was asking earlier, you said a while ago regarding Malky and his decisions, especially this season. Curry thinks he would be looking at changing the managerial structure of the women's team. So, there is noises, isn't there?
Yeah, we need to do something. It's kind of gone a wee bit stale and whatever it is, whether it's coming from him, whether he's told them to do that, to just sit back, defend, just take it easy. Like, don't worry about it. We've got the lead. Just see it out. Or if that's something the players have just kind of started doing on their own, I don't know. But I think potentially we could end this season with one trophy, and that's not good enough. That is abject failure. So he should be set, or he should resign. He shouldn't be settling for that. Do you know what I mean? So even if we go and win the treble, though, I think it's the time for a change. It's time to get something in, fresh ideas, new bodies in, try and freshen up the squad a bit, and to start again next year and hopefully do better. We could still win the treble, and it's the hope that'll give me a heart attack, I swear. But I'll never give up until it's done. But I can't hope until Thursday's over, because you never know what's going to happen. But I think it is time, and I think he knows that, because you could see that, as well said, on his face, that he's got it. And at the end of the game, they all just ran down the tunnel. We don't know if he told them to just go down the tunnel so they could talk in the changing room rather than doing what they normally do in the circle in the middle of the pitch. I don't know, but words were had apparently. So
yeah, Chris, thank you very much for the £10 super chat.
yeah.
Just trumped the main pod by a decent amount there, so much appreciated. But as Carr says, get a photo, get down to the game, and as Curry said in the comment just below that, all the girls are really good with the fans, much obliging, sign most things, so we'll get photos as
Except for yesterday.
Except for yesterday, yes. Sorry, but
Yeah.
we'll ignore that. But where were we? I was going to say, there was another one here. I mean, at the end of the day, Wilf, I'm watching the game back as today as I did, and it's even going into the last few 5 minutes of the game, we've had 3 gilt edge chances. We've hit the post, Brogan Hay. We've had one cleared off the line, literally last minute sort of clearance. So it's not as though they're not going right to the 90. They're just not getting either the rub of the green, or they're just not a bit. They're not showing the composure that you need in that moment.
But in fairness, from what I saw in the game, we were never really in any danger. Hearts really didn't really offer a lot. You know what I mean? And when they got the penalty, Martin's popped up. Martin's appeared, I think. No, okay, no, he hasn't. Okay, yeah, we were never in any danger from. We were, as you say, we were the ones making the chances towards the end of the game. We just couldn't finish them off. So surely we should have been able to hold on. And it's an inexplicably bad decision by a professional footballer that should know better to give away. Because once they got the penalty, Kieran Grant was never missing that. You know what I mean? Never in a million years was Kieran Grant missing that penalty. And it's the only way they were going to score. As if it was if it was a last gasp, somebody running through, take her out, and hope she misses a penalty, and because she's going to score anyway, and that's fine. The challenge was just inside the box, right on the byline. I mean, the ball, even if she got it across, the ball was going nowhere. They had nobody in the box, the ball wasn't going anywhere. You know what I mean? It's an inexplicably bad decision. I mean, Curry asks a question there. Who do we think the weakest links in the team are? For me, the weakest link in the team yesterday was the person that gave away the penalty. And I say that every time I see her play because I just don't particularly rate her. And I know that's a bit harsh on Hannah, but I've never really rated her. But as we said at the start of the pod, we have no other options at centre half at the moment. Although, having said that, you could probably put Tess back there yesterday because it was a team that weren't really offering much up front, but obviously Malky knows better than we do. Allegedly.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of a bolt out of the blue, the sort of penalty, because I mean, it's watching, again, we're watching the highlights today, Car. I didn't see one clip of Jenna Davidson because Hearts didn't offer anything going forward. That we were totally dominant. I don't think Jenna had anything to do apart from picking the ball out of the goal in the 90-odd minute, and we even hit the bar after they score. But it's just, again, that's twice now we've played Hearts and we haven't beat them.
Yeah, and it's funny because like a minute before that happens, we're in their half, like at the corner, and me and Laura were talking to each other and essentially said, "Oh, come on, don't take it into the corner and try and time waste for a couple of minutes. That's pathetic." And then somehow we're in our box and we've conceded a penalty within the space of like a minute. Now, and then I was like, well, we should have just done that. We should have just put it into the corner or, just fannied about with it, done something. Do you know what I mean? Because it was just utter madness. I don't understand what she's thinking. Either boot it out, go to a corner and hope for the best that we don't concede from it. Or play it back. Do something other than that. Because what did she actually think was going to happen? She's going to go down if you pull her shirt even slightly or you touch her slightly. Because anyone would, as they should in that situation. So I genuinely don't know her thought process. And her protest after it, I didn't understand. Because it's clearly a penalty. It's soft and it's annoying, but it's still a penalty. And if that's the other end, we'd be screaming for it. So I really don't get what she thought would happen in that situation. Did she think Vic was going to come running out and get it? Like, what was her rationale then? And then, I mean, the other option for centre-back, we're saying we don't have another centre-back. You can move Maddie in and play Nick. I mean, that's the other option that we've got. But I don't think he'll do that. It'll be the same team that will start on Thursday. He always does the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's game management, Wolf, isn't it? It's game being aware, knowing the situation as it is, as in being 1-0 up. It's a delicate lead. As Carr was saying, they were in the corner and then a minute later they're down the other end and winning a penalty. It's about managing the game correctly and doing what you have to do to get the win. But as Carr says, do anything but what she did.
Yeah, I mean, as my ball saying in the comments, we need to score goals. Can't always blame the defence. That's 100% correct. Mm-hmm. But when you're struggling to score goals, but you are winning the game management is important. For anybody that hasn't seen the incident that led to the penalty, it's serious. You lose your coach and attention. The defender did that stoppage. You've absolutely got. If your kid did it or somebody in your kid's team did it, because it's a losing decision. It's because you said, why even touch her? As soon as you touch her, she's going to go down. Because if I was in, because you're getting beat, the defence touching you in the box, you're going to go down. Of course, you're very soft, touch the jersey. It's a and that's game management. It really is. I'm thinking because you're laughing there, Bryan.
You're back with us, so it's fine. But Graham's asking a question, Car. Why we're not rotating the squad? Do we rotate the squad enough, or does he, as you say, play the same all the time?
I mean, we kind of did rotate the squad. Like Kirsty came in for tests. Maddie kind of stayed in for Nick, and then Emma started again. So we kind of rotated the squad to a degree. But with the injuries that we've got, and with Leslie just back, I don't think we have as many options as the bench looks like we do. You know, a lot of them are like young players or fringe players that can't seem to get a game for whatever reason. So I don't know, to be honest. You need to ask Malky that, because I really don't. But then that team that went out yesterday should have been strong enough, and we shouldn't have had as many problems as we did. You're saying that, you know, we were fine, but the only person that got pass marks for me was Rachel. Like, and Sam. I'll give Sam credit. But the rest of them, it was just slack. And it looked like when the passes weren't just going as easily as they normally did, they just got annoyed and they're like, why aren't they just lying down and letting us do it? Why are they not just letting us play our game? And it's like they were getting frustrated and then becoming a bit more frantic, and it just wasn't happening. And we need to learn to be able to deal with that and just let it's the low block again, which we've said since the start of the season that we struggle against. And every team knows it, and that's why they set up that way, because they know that we can't break it down.
Alan makes a good point here. You know, it's the basics defending. Don't let the ball bounce. Stay goal side of the attacker. You're taught that as a kid playing football, and we saw the team do that so well. We saw the team do that so well early in the season. You know, at the start of the season, we were scoring lots of goals. The confidence was there. Wolf. So it's, you know, it's. You don't want to say it's for one person missing or whatever, but I mean, we haven't been very lucky with injuries this year. We've had a couple of bad injuries, and it's maybe we've heavily relied on like one person for one position for a long time, because, you know, there's no other options. But then again, that's down to the management team to, you know, sign replacements.
But you can't blame that. I mean, yeah, the signing replacements, but there's probably something in that, because we didn't sign a single soul in the January window. Didn't sign anybody. You know what I mean? We let Dina Oshman go to Union Berlin. Brought nobody in, so that meant the squad was a little bit lighter. But games like yesterday, we're still making chances. We had chances to win that game twice yesterday. Mm-hmm. You know, we could have been 4 or 5 up at half time. Mm-hmm. You know, and then as you rightly said, towards the end of the game, just before they got the penalty, we had 2 or 3 really good chances. So we could. That could have been an embarrassing score for us. We could have won that by an absolute cartload, but we just didn't. Now, whether they're snatching at chances because the confidence isn't there, they're getting nervous because it's the end of the season, they're knackered because he hasn't been rotating the squad as much as he would probably like due to injuries or whatever. We don't know any of that because we're not in the building, we're not party to any of that. But I mean, as Carl rightly said, teams have worked out that we struggle against the low block, so they're doing the low block, but we're still getting through it because we're making chances. We're just not taking the chances for whatever reason, and it's so frustrating. And then when you're really struggling, and a defender makes the kind of mistake that Hannah made yesterday, it's absolutely baffling. I mean, you'd be infuriated by that if you gave away a penalty when you're 4 or 5 up, and it didn't really matter because you'd won the game anyway. But it's a ridiculous decision when you're battling for. You've just got yourself back in a title race. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, 3 weeks ago we were out of the title race. Last week we were right back in it. Went to Glasgow City, scored an injury time winner. You know what I mean, right back in the hunt. Got to a cup final, looking really good, and then that's us needing Snookers again. You know, I mean, the scenario we're in now, right? Just to let everybody aware, in case they don't know the scenario, 5 games to go. Our next game's at Airdrie on Thursday against Celtic, live on Sky, 7 o'clock kickoff. We have to win that game. Then the following Thursday, Celtic play Glasgow City. For some bizarre reason, it's at Parkhead. Can't believe Glasgow City agreed to that, but anyway, right, that has to be a draw. If that's not a draw, we can forget it.
Yeah,
doesn't matter what we do after that. That's not a draw. We can forget it. And the unthinkable thing is the way their season's going, we could be handing Celtic the title, and that's unthinkable. That's just no, because they will go. They'll absolutely go to town on that. They'll milk that for all it's worth, because they're, of the top 3 teams, they're by far the worst. They're really not that good a side, but they get results. You know what I mean? Yeah. And we could be handing in the title.
Car, you
I
might
mean-
be able to answer this one. When you go, Wilf.
There you go.
Curry's
you go.
asking again, am I the only one that's seen a bit of reluctance going into tackles? The girls have been looking a little bit powder puff. Would you kind of agree with that?
Yeah, I think to an extent, like, I've kind of noticed that they look a little bit kind of sheepish almost. But I don't know if that is due to, like, some people are just back from injuries and stuff. They're maybe scared of getting injured again. Or they're just worried about getting injured if they, haven't just come back from injury. But Brogan, you can tell Brogan's not. She's either struggling still with her calves or whatever it is, or she's just knackered because she was away with Scotland and she's been playing for us, or what it is. But she had no joy yesterday. And it's baffling because that was the main link-up that was, winning us games at the start of the season was the Rachel Brogan link-up, and it just wasn't happening yesterday. But it was on all fronts. It was, we keep saying it, but we made so many chances that most people would put away on a normal good day if we were, had that been the start of the season, that would have been like 4 or 5-0. But for some reason, it's just whether everyone's just exhausted and it's just all been a bit too much up and down and everyone's just mentally drained potentially. But I mean, it shouldn't matter. And there's plenty of players in that team that knows what it means to play for this club. Do you know what I mean? Kathy's the captain and she's one of us through and through. Next there's Sam to an extent, Rachel, Kirsty. So they should be telling the rest of them that that's not good enough. And they should be going through them, which I'm sure they probably did in that dressing room. But a lot of the newer girls, I think, don't get it and they don't look that bothered and that kind of interested. And it's kind of frustrating because if that's the case, then just don't bother, leave then. And that interview that came out last week or whenever it was with Yenny made it seem like she's here for another season and this is just the beginning. And I mean, everybody, I think, in the world knows how I feel about her. But I genuinely tried to give her a chance. And she just absolutely baffled me. In like the cup semi-final, she jumps over a ball. And the yesterday, she doesn't jump for the ball. And she's about 8 feet tall. So just jump for it and head her in. It's baffling. But it's things like that. It's like the mentality of the whole team is the same. Someone else will do it. Okay, someone else will run for it. Someone else will put the chance in. And it's not happening. But, after the game, we waited after the game. I wasn't letting them get away without having a wee word. I didn't say anything bad. I'm not that kind of person. But, speaking to some of them, I won't name names, but they all said we have to win on Thursday, and it's nothing else that's acceptable. And Malky even said that in his post-match. So they're going to look ridiculous now if they come out on Thursday and they don't give it their all, because they've all come out and said it now that they have to win on Thursday. So we'll see on Thursday if they actually mean it.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks, Chris, again for the £5 super sticker. Thank you very much. Totally appreciate that. Showing up.
Bryan, Bryan, sorry, Bryan, can I pick up on this from my ball again?
Yep.
That I agree 100% that it's great to see the women's teams getting to play in their own stadiums. And the comment he's got under that about watching Arsenal play Wolfsburg at a busy Emirates, neat to see Rangers back at Ibrox, that would be fabulous. But my comment about Celtic playing Glasgow City at Parkhead was because I have it on very good authority from Carr that last season we had asked to play the Glasgow City game at Ibrox and City said no. That's why we played Aberdeen at Ibrox. So it baffles me why City, who are neck and neck in a title challenge with Celtic, would agree to go to Parkhead, which is a much wider pitch, a much bigger pitch, and a pitch that would benefit Celtic more, to play a game when they wouldn't come to Ibrox when there wasn't really a title on the line at the time last year. I just think it's baffling. For me, they should play as many games at Ibrox as they can, for the Rangers team certainly. I've been banging on here the last 3 or 4 weeks that we should be playing our game against City, last game of the season. They should move it to Ibrox. It would help. It would help me personally. It would help the team as well because it's the Rangers Player of the Year that night in the middle of Glasgow, so the team would be closer to where they need to be after the game for a start. But it would also give a bigger crowd in a game that, as Graham rightly points out, we might have to win to get to Europe. But as he also points out, that winning to get to Europe, that could give them the title.
I was just
However,
say.
that might be a cross we have to bear, because if we don't get into Europe, that's a disaster. Right now, they keep going on about the money we spend on the women's team, and it has to be self-sustainable, etc., etc., etc. The way to help that is to get a run in Europe, to get European football. And if we don't get European football, I can see 2 or 3 of our better players leaving, and try to bring in players to replace them is going to be difficult if all they've got to look forward to is running about Scottish football, not even getting a sniff at the Champions League. That could potentially hurt us in the short to medium term. So it could be a double-edged sword. And personally, from my point of view, if beating City gets us into Europe, I don't give a monkeys if it hands them the league. Because although I don't want them to win the league, but we have to get into Europe. That's the top bottom line is we have to get into Europe.
Yeah. Hey, Curry's asking, Car, is there a lot of the team Rangers fans?
Well, there's obviously Kathy, Nick, Kirsty, Howard. Sam and Rachel are weird ones because I don't think, family-wise, that they are, but I think they've kind of been around it long enough that they're definitely of our persuasion compared to anything else in the city. There's a few that I don't really know, obviously Yenny and the new ones, the American lassies and that are not, but like the young ones are. Like Emma Watson's been here for I think 6 years or something. You know, she's been here from the academy. Fairly sure like Jodie and Kirsty are pretty staunch. So there's enough in the squad.
It's Car's turn to have
My cat's just destroying the place. There's enough in the squad that they should be able to tell the girls. Because I mean, they train at Auchenhowie every day, as Laura said to me. They see everything up on the walls, all the achievements, everything that it means. And when you come to a club, you should be researching it, looking into it. You know, what does it mean and what's the expectations? So they should know by now. You know, we're nearly at the end of the season. So there's enough in the team. But certainly, like, people were questioning Kathy, which I found a bit bizarre because she didn't do anything wrong yesterday. Yeah, like she didn't make any mistakes that cost us that game. So for people to come out and question her, but that's kind of just the way, isn't it? People automatically question the captain, for whatever reason. But
yeah. So as Wilf said, the situation in the league is now 6 of a difference between us and Glasgow. Is it? Car
5.
They're on 71. We're on 66.
66. Yeah. So
yeah, 5 points.
Again, it's still not out with our possibility of to do something. But again, as the title says, we're relying on other results to help us. And we got ourselves out of the last snooker, and we got it into our own hands. Now we're behind the 8 ball again. So it's a pity, but as I keep saying, unless it's mathematically impossible, they can still win it. So, and I'll stick on that train for as long as I can.
I agree with that, Brian. But I agree with that completely, Brian. But I think we're on life support, and they're very, very close to switching it off. Yes,
I'll totally agree with that as well. Yes, we're at the last chance saloon, as they'll say. There's not many options left. So yeah, I mean, Wilf, it's very difficult to comprehend how we've went from a victory over Glasgow City and then drawing at home at Hearts, isn't it?
You have to question the mentality, as we said earlier. You have to question whether they were really up for it. I mean, they made enough chances to win the game twice, as we've already said, and an individual error cost us the game. It's football. Unfortunately, these things happen. I mean, like as somebody pointed out, Celtic scudded Hearts 6-0 last week before. We couldn't put more than one past them. You know what I mean? It's they probably tightened up after that because that's what teams do once they get a scalp and they make sure that they're a bit harder to beat. But we had enough chances to beat them 6-0. So is it just that they're more clinical than us? Having watched them against us not that long ago, I wouldn't say they were any more clinical than we are. But just obviously all fell into place for them that day. Hearts were terrible against Hibs. Equalised through a dodgy penalty, if I remember that rightly. I think it was a dodgy penalty they got against Hibs, if I remember that right. But the game wasn't great anyway. You know what I mean? And it's inexplicable why we didn't beat Hearts. And we're now, as you say, now the scenario is if we don't win on Thursday, we can forget it. If we don't win on Thursday, we're not even going to get Europe. Simple as that.
Yeah.
If we win on Thursday, then the game the following week, if there's a winner in that, they'll probably win the league, and whoever loses will be fighting out European place with us. If it's a draw, we're right back in it. That's a lot to ask. But the most important thing is we have to win on Thursday. There is no if, buts, or maybes. So anybody that's in the comments, anybody that catches up with us later, if you're about on Thursday in the Central Belt, please come along to Airdrie and give the girls a bit of backing, because they'll probably need it, because I would imagine their support will be out in force. And
absolutely.
Let's just get behind the girls as much as we can and see how it goes.
Must totally agree. And yes, so folks, we've got a game on Thursday against Celtic at Airdrie. 7 o'clock kickoff. As Wolf saying, get along and support the girls if you're around. More the merrier, because we'll obviously be quite well outnumbered, I would imagine, being an away fixture. So, and then we have a game on the Sunday away to Hibs. So two games, quick succession card. Doesn't happen very often, but I'm kind of glad the big one's first, because at least everybody's sort of fresh. They've got a week to prepare and get ready. Well, not a week, but they've got 4 or 5 days to get ready for it, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, but we also play the Wednesday after that again. We've got Port of Thistle.
Yeah, so
so they're coming very thick and fast. But as Wilf said earlier, they should have been in today, but then all of last week they were essentially off. I think they were only in one day. They were in the Wednesday, I think. And me and Laura had talked about this, like, why are they not in there doing stuff? You don't have to be training every day, but you can in analysing and what can we do better? What can we work on? What do we need to sort out? But instead, they're all out gallivanting, which is fine. They're allowed lives. I'm not saying they're not allowed that, but do you know what I mean? Like, if that much is on the line, and potentially, like, the manager's job's on the line, some of the players' jobs might be on the line, you think they'd be more willing to be like, no, let's stay in, or we'll go back talking Howie, or we'll go somewhere and we'll sit and analyse it and do what we can to work this out. Because, as Will said, why weren't they in today? They should have been in today. Obviously not training, but they should have been in. Whether there's issues with the men are maybe in, or the B team are in, or the youth are training and there's not enough space or whatever could potentially be the issue. But we're angry and they're angry, but I think we're more angry because it means more to us because we can't do anything about it. Do you know what I mean? And especially after what happened earlier in the day, just before that game kicked off, we're already angry. So it's just kind of sat on top of that, and I'm just kind of done with everything. But Thursday we'll decide what's going on, and then from then we can figure it out. But if we don't win on Thursday, then it's done, and we win the cup hopefully. But if we don't win on Thursday, how much hope is there of that? But I'm trying to be optimistic.
Will we win on Thursday, Car?
We will.
On last
4-0.
4-0.
4-0.
Wolf, will we win on Thursday?
Of course we'll win on Thursday, but Rangers win is what we do.
I like the optimism. I'm not so sure.
And we better win on Thursday because I've got a long drive back to Aberdeen after it, and I'm fucking fed up driving back after getting beat by Celtic, so we better.
Oh dear. Yeah, absolutely. Don't be angry, Car. Just blame Wolf. There you go. So yes, we will hopefully be back next Wednesday on Patreon, I believe.
Yeah, Sorry, Bryan. There will be coverage on Thursday because both myself and Carl will be at the game because, as Carl rightly points out, it's a big game and I go to them. So yeah, we'll try and get something out. We might even get the half-time analysis out this time because the last twice I've sent it to Martin, it's never appeared. So whether the quality is not good enough, I don't really know. But we'll do something at the very least. We'll have a post match as I'm driving back up the road. We'll definitely have something up. Sunday probably not so much because we'll be at Ibrox for the Aberdeen game. Won't even see the Hibs game.
No.
I wouldn't think. I'd imagine Carl will be at the Hibs game.
No, I'm actually working. I'm missing the 2 after Thursday because I'm back shift and they both fall within my back shift. So the next game I'm going to is Hearts. after Thursday.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll be at that
Great.
as well. So anyway, we'll do, as Brian says, we'll definitely something out. We'll get it
Yeah.
recorded early next week, get it out with you. Something. Hopefully get it out on Patreon next week before the Wednesday game.
Yeah.
So that it's not kind of clashing, but we'll need to speak to Mark, make sure it goes out before the Wednesday game.
Aye.
And then we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I say, we'll hopefully get something out early in the next start of next week. We'll have the Celtic we'll talk about the Celtic game and hopefully talk about the Hibs game as well. So we'll have two to talk about. Could be a long one, but my thanks to Cara, my thanks to Wilf. And thank you for everybody for commenting on the section. That's probably one of the busiest ones we've had. So it's brilliant to see it getting more eyes on it and folk are taking an interest. It's much appreciated. Cara's knowledge in the ladies' teams, really, really well. She knows a lot of the. She speaks to the players, and it's nice to hear that first-hand experience that she's got with the players. So, and she goes to all the games.
I would say it's second to none, but I'm more scared of Laura than I am of Carl, so I won't say it's second to none.
Oh, Laura knows so much more than me.
Well, I was going to go down that line, but I thought I'm not.
No, I will fully admit that Laura knows so much more than me. So much more.
Absolutely, but no, it's much appreciated that there's more people watching the show, taking an interest. So, as I say, much appreciated for everybody commenting and asking questions. So, again, thanks to Car, thanks to Wilf, and more importantly, thanks to you guys. And we shall see you next week. Thank you.